You're listening to Style as Identity.
Yes, we're your hosts. I'm Frankie Ikwuazom.
And I'm Lola Catero. So, is starting a brand on your vision board?
Or do you just love fashion and want us to talk nerdy to you?
Either way, we got you.
Join us as we get into aspects of the trade that you might not find online. We're uncovering truths from the founders and designers daring to build within their vision and values.
These brands, they're shifting our understanding of the style status quo. And the more time we spend with them, the more we expect from what we wear and the brands that sell them.
So, we're glad you're here.
Let's do this.
Hey everyone, Chicago, a city in the US, has a rich and influential culture. You can see Chicago's fingerprints all over music, food, art, sports, historic people-led movements, and now fashion. Today, we are so very honored to be joined by Sheila Rashid, designer and creator of her eponymous iconic brand. Sheila reps Chicago with pieces that confront and curtail gender identity. Her genius words. Sheila Rashid is part of a force that's adding richness, nuance, and a lexicon to our concept of style. In every collection, we see inspiration from the people and stories that make Chicago, Chicago. You'll recognize her brand's signature staples, which we'll get into later. Sheila's creations have been worn by Zendaya, Lena Waithe, Bella Hadid, Chance the Rapper, just to name a few. And her brand was a capstone feature this year in Chicago's first ever Fashion Week. So we were dying to get Sheila on Style as Identity to talk about how she celebrates her local influences and the impact she's making on Chicago's perception in the fashion world. Sheila, welcome. So good to have you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Okay, Sheila, since 2017, the same year we started the Majority Group, your collections maintain this real exploration in workwear, denims, plaids, overalls that have a nod to almost fishing waders, boiler suits, but with this recognizable Sheila Rashid notes like your heart denim pants, like your red carpet ready overalls. Thank you, Chance. They're durable, they're original, elevated. And what we see from your collection year after year, we see love. It's clear there's a reverence for jobs that require us to roll up our sleeves. We'd love to hear you talk about like what anchors your namesake label and what are the muses that occupy your brain space?
Yeah, I think that good craftsmanship really anchors me, which anchors my brand. My identity really coincide with just like every collection because they represent a piece of me. I'm always paying close attention to detail and having clean seams, straight lines, and quality fabrics. And I understand that each piece I make will reflect, an authenticity that people can recognize. At the end of the day, I had to go to the core, like what makes me who I am. And I think that kind of reflects in the brand as well. I'm really big on craftsmanship and just like quality and having a good product.
We're going to shout out every collection you have. Like I truly encourage anyone who's listening to like go on the website, look at what's still available to order, but also look at the past lookbooks. We want to give a shout out to the Good Hair Day collection. I especially grew up spending time in salons, not necessarily because of what my parents did, but just because every time I went to the salon, it was minimum 3 hours that I was spending in there. And you just like see the same people. And even growing up, my aunts made a big deal out of like making sure my sisters and I got Essence magazine so we could see like Black beauty reflected at all times in our house. So like I love that collection. And you can see that attention to detail, even just like I think that there's a pair of jeans that have like the braids on the side. And just like the way you make that work, that collection is really a living example of how you start dialogue with each collection, which I think is kind of what you were saying about being authentic to yourself, but also how you see your city, right? So you also collaborate on a capsule collection for the renowned television show The Chi. If anyone's seen it, I'm sure lots of people have. So what aspects of Chicago most shaped who you are today? And then how do you translate those aspects into your self-expression?
Well, being born in Chicago and from here, all of that in itself is just like, I have to represent Chicago because this is where I'm from. This is my city. So I feel like I have to represent that. And yes, I moved away, but I came back. And I think that's like a huge thing. Just when I came back from New York, I was able to really find my brand identity and find like really what I wanted to do. And it just shaped from there. But I'm just through and through a Chicagoan. And it's going to reflect that in all of my collections as far as like how the weather is here. We get all 4 seasons, but we love our layers. We wear our denims. You know, it's a blue collar city. So we're a working city, but we're also like not known for fashion. So I'm just always trying to do the workwear, but make it like stylish. You know, make it cool, make pieces that are bold and people can recognize. Yeah, Chicago is a part of me. So I'm going to always kind of just put that in my collection somehow. But even if it's just me being known as a denim brand, you know, that's what we do. We like our monochrome fits. And that's what I do a lot in my collections. Like we love our one color. We have an interesting style here, but I try to pull it out through collections.
Frankie and I know about moving away and coming back. We both were in SF when we met, and we both were like, we got to move back to New York though, right? And here we are. And hearing you talk about your collection so rooted in Chicago style, it's very apparent, but it's also not exclusive to people in Chicago. Like it has this mass appeal that everyone can feel attracted to and want to wear.
Definitely. That's really the goal, is to make pieces that everybody can buy and relate to, which is why it's, you know, gender fluid, it's unisex. Everybody can wear it. And yeah, my influence of Chicago will always be in me, but it is a global brand for sure.
All right, rolling this back a bit. I think when people might see your brand nowadays, they might think it's a few years old, like almost like a startup, but you started in 2010. That is well over a decade ago. And it's clear the brand went through several iterations, right? Not iterations, but like maybe leaps, at least from an outsider's perspective. And we love talking to brands that have over a decade under their belt, because a lot of people don't see those first 5 years. And there's like this initial like blood, sweat, tears, fears, failures. And you were a Project Runway finalist. You had your first collection that featured the iconic crotch drop that is now, you know, carried through years and years later. And not that the current 5 years have been easy, but I'm curious, that like initial grind from 2010 to like 2015, 2016, what sustained you to keep your head down, to keep going, and to say like what sustained you, like your heart, your head, your wallet, what kept you going?
I just think determination is what really drove me. Just knowing that I wanted to be a fashion designer after high school, it just drove me to just really want to learn everything about it. So I did go to Columbia College for fashion design. And after that, that's when I knew like, okay, I wanted to be a fashion designer. So I ended up just immersing myself into just like learning everything about the craft and how to sew and pattern making and all of those things. But I didn't really learn all of that at Columbia College. But when I did do my first fashion show in 2010, that was like my first solo fashion show. And it was like a 30-look collection. It was really ambitious. I did a fashion show and everyone came out, like the whole city came out. And I knew then like, yeah, this is what I wanted to do. So I just kept pushing. I did New York Fashion Week in 2011. And then from there, I wanted to live in New York. I'm like, okay, I wanted to go to the fashion capital. Like, I love the energy out here. It's great. Let's go. And so that's what I did. I ended up moving to New York. I want to say 2011. It was like after my show. Then at that same year, I moved to New York. And then I was there for like a year and a half. That time in New York was all about networking. I just wanted to be around the people who are in fashion, you know, meeting Beyonce stylists at the time, even though I wasn't able to get anything to him. I ran into him. I ran into all kinds of just like people who are influencers, I would say, like people who are just popular in New York. I was just around, and I ended up working in retail out while I was there. So I was just trying to find ways to get clients. So I would be on Craigslist looking for people who wanted custom things. But my time ended up coming to a close in around mid 2012. I ended up moving back due to financial reasons. The retail money wasn't working out. It was just like, okay, I had to move back because of financially, I wasn't able to stay there anymore. So when I moved back to Chicago, I ended up in retail again. I worked at Kohan for like 3 years. So that's from like 2013 to 2016. And the last year of me working at Kohan was when I ended up making the overalls for Chance. And that was the moment where it kind of just went up. Even though before that, Zendaya did wear my overalls. Like the whole time I've been networking, I've been building, the brand was building just like word of mouth. Before the Chance wore the overalls, Zendaya wore the overalls for a music video because of Law. When I did the overalls for Chance, I knew that I had to keep going. Like I'm like the overalls became like a staple. Like they were his signature look, and then it became like my signature thing. So even though I was doing them before, it's just like I'm like, oh, okay, this became a thing. But just knowing that I have a good product, I knew I wanted to be a designer, and I'm like, I would do anything to keep it going. So I didn't think about like having any downtime, just doing it. I just did it.
You mentioned that even before Chance wore the overalls in 2016, like Zendaya wore in 2014. So thinking maybe that's around when you and Law probably built a relationship, and working with stylists plays like a key part in brand awareness, recognition, and the brand and stylist partnerships that turn our heads the most, like often feel authentic to like everyone involved. And so we're trying to figure out your celebrities wearing Sheila Rashid and relationships with stylists appear like there's like always like a deeper common understanding. So how did the relationship with Law form, and what advice do you have for other brands on like forming, maintaining strong real relationships with stylists where it feels like everyone's winning?
Yeah. So first with Law, I met Law. Obviously, he's from Chicago. He used to own like a store where he would resell like high-end pieces. So he owned a store called Deliciously Vintage.
Of course it was called that. I
Yep.
love that.
Yep. He had a partner, but yeah, it was him, and he had he had like a really cool space in Pilsen, which is a neighborhood here in Chicago. And he was able to just like be known for having like these pieces. But he ended up, I don't know how he ventured into styling for Zendaya. So basically I knew him before he blew up, you know, being in Chicago, we just kind of know each other. We go to events, and this is like, it was just normal. Like we just knew Law was Law. And so he took off. So after that, I remember just getting some overalls to him. I sent him some overalls. He maybe even inquired about them. And I just remember sending them to him. He was using them for a music video, and she wore them. And that was like a great moment. Like, you know, she was able to wear them. And that's really how that happened. But a good example as to what I would give brands, you know, a word would be, I ended up working with Sydney Colson. Sydney Colson is a WNBA player for Las Vegas Aces.
Oh, we know.
Yes. And we became cool. I guess maybe she followed me or followed each other. Some happened where we just became cool on social media. Like she became like a really cool person that I can talk to. And I don't remember how we connected on social media, but we did. And she gave me tickets to games before. It was just like a cool thing where we just built this relationship. But I would say she had a stylist who was able to facilitate being the middleman to allow her to wear the pieces in a way that it maximized the moment, you know? So I think it's good to have a stylist to reach out to. If you know who you want to style, a celeb, find out who is styling them, right? And then reach out to them, talk to them, see how, come prepared, like show, if you have like a certain piece or look, have the product shots. Just make sure everything is quality. That's my thing. Like if when you present things to people, make sure everything's good and the quality's there. But my advice would be to reach out to the stylist, make sure you know exactly what you want to give to them, and find out what event or where can they wear this to, basically. Where can they wear this to where this can maximize the moment where the exposure is there for people can really see it. You don't want to just give somebody something and they wear it to the grocery store. You want this to be like, oh, you have an event? Okay, this would be perfect for that. So that's what it's all about. Just having a plan. If you want them to wear it to this, do that. Facilitate the steps to get there.
And when you say that, it sounds like you have a relationship with these stylists at this point where you either know there's an event coming up and you suggest some pieces that would go well with it, or the stylist is coming back saying like, oh, actually, they're going to this party. Do you have anything for that? Is that a little give and take?
Exactly. It's all about communicate with them. Like, let me know if there's something coming up where we can have this look on them. Cause that's exactly what I've been doing with Sid. So Sydney was able to wear the Good Hair Day collection, the denim set where all of the Black women hair from the Hype Hair magazine, the print that she wore that set. And, you know, she did it for a ton of walk and it just went viral. So those are the moments that you want. You want a viral moment. So yeah, having viral moments is the thing. And then if there's not anything coming up, let them know. Let the stylist know. Well, let me know if there is something coming up and then I can send you this look. So, cause you know, there's a look that I have from my newest collection that I'm waiting to send to Sid. But we want to make sure there's an event, like, you know, the season's over right now. So we want to make sure when she wears this, it's going to be seen. So that's what it is. This is about finding the right moment.
And you said you have an upcoming look. So when you were in the design process, you're like, oh, like this is for her. Like I'm making this so we could place it on her. And it was built a little bit inspired by her.
Pretty much. Yeah, knowing what looks good, what's going to look good on the people that you want them on. I know she's going to love this look. And I know it's going to go viral if she wear it. So that's what it is. It's about like having good intuition, like just knowing like, okay, yeah, this is going to be good for her. So it's funny because the look that I want for her, when after she had actually commented on it before I could even tell her before we even had the conversation about her wearing this look. So it was like, she already loved it. So it was like, and I was like, see, I wanted this on you anyway. So
oh, this sounds like one of your superpowers, because another version of this we were wondering is like right now, one of our themes on the podcast is around like innovation and patents. And it's really with the intellectual property of a brand, what makes it original. And while you don't hold traditional patents, you are no stranger to producing signature pieces that we're talking about in your trademark items. And when we think about Chance's overalls, like that became signature to him for a moment, and it's signature to your brand at the same time. I mean, I feel like it elevated both of you. And now hearing you're just doing this time and time again, and it seems to kind of come naturally for you. It does not come naturally to most designers or brands. And we're like, how does she do it? But is this something you've cultivated and learned over time now that you're creating pieces and you're just so in lockstep with some of these people that you're creating for, or you just got it?
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it did happen over time. Mastering what you think people are going to like or love. Like people are going to go crazy for it, right? I will say it is in me. Like, I understand that not everyone can do that, but you can try. There's ways you can get there. But for me, I realized just recently that storytelling is really good for collections. So that's the formula I've been sticking to recently. Literally, I feel like I really started honing in on storytelling with collections maybe like 2-3 years ago. And now I feel like I'm getting better and better now because now that I know the formula, I'm sticking to it. So storytelling is a really good way, obviously, to have like a really good impact on people. So people see the whole rollout. People see like you're not just putting out things. You're not just putting out certain individual ideas. You're putting a whole collective together and you're doing a rollout. You're doing the lookbook. You're doing a video, you're doing the whole nine because you care that much about your brand and your pieces that you don't just want to put it out just like, oh, I just made this. That's what I learned. I used to do that. I used to just like put things out like, oh yeah, look. But now it's like I think it through. Like I want to put out a whole story and that's what it's about. But brands who are looking to create a trademark or a signature, our signature look should first figure out like the style of clothing to create. Like what's the category? Like first start there. Like, is it a casual style? Is it athleisure? Is it evening wear? Is it weddings? First, you want to do that. First, you want to figure out what's your category. Once you have that, that gives your brand an identity. But as far as the designs and knowing what people are going to go crazy for, that's up to them. That's up to the designer to really, hone in on. It's up to you to create something unforgettable in that field. And I don't really know how to tell somebody how to do that, except do what you think people are going to absolutely go crazy for, whatever that is.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of what comes out of this is you do have a good intuition, but you also trust it because I think we do a lot of self-editing when we're trying to figure out what other people are going to be gravitated to. And it sounds like in your process, like you're doing a lot of trusting where you're going with it and just like letting yourself be free in the storytelling.
But then you have a formula now. Now you have that formula.
Yep. Now I have a formula and it's working. So stick with the formula that's going to work for you, for the brand, for sure. Not everything is going to work, the same way for everybody. It's always going to be something different. But for me, I found out that people love like prints and bold prints and, like history. And so it's just keeping that ethos, like keeping like knowing that, okay, I know people are going to love this. So let's continue to do different bold prints, but how can we elevate it? But let's take it a step further every time.
Which collection did it feel like the storytelling started with? Is it the heart one? Because I know you mentioned that it came out of an experience you had. Does that feel like it started there or was it even later or earlier than?
Yeah, I would say that's really what I thought. I think that was really where it kind of started because before that, it really started then. Yeah, I was doing collections, but I don't think there was much of a story there. So the Love His All collection was definitely the first one I felt like this is how you do a rollout. This is how you tell a story. And I really do give kudos to my manager at the time. Pharaoh is my good friend. I love him. He was the guy who really put me on and how to do that. And I've been sticking with that formula ever since.
And when you talk about, you're learning this rollout brand identity, a formula, part of your formula is seeding this and forming relationships with celebrities and making it authentic to them and keeping that going. When you talk about getting your clothes on current celebrities and new celebrities, how much are you gifting these days? I get this question a lot when I work with brands and they're like, how much should I be gifting? And I'd love to hear your take.
Yeah, I do think that gifting is a big part of getting your brand out there. That's like PR type stuff. Like you need to do that. And I think it's absolutely important to send out free things to the celebs and the people that you want, because you know that they're going to post it and talk about it, or some of the sort where I just felt like it's just good to have. Like you want to give things because you also don't want to just be sitting on inventory being like stingy with it. You want people in your work. Like you shouldn't care about how much something costs, or you should just give it out because that's the art. That's what the art is about. You want to give it out. And from that, good comes from that. That's my whole point. Good comes from giving things away anyway. So why not give it out?
That's so true. That applies outside of this too. Like good comes from giving stuff out. You're talking a lot about giving and getting back. And, it also sounds like a version of building a community around your work. And that is quite what made it possible, community. And because of designers like you, for Chicago to have its first ever fashion week this year, which is huge and surprising. This year was the first, but we still love it. Better late than never. So in an industry where so many designers flock to New York, you mentioned you love New York. We love New York too. But fashion lives everywhere. Like fashion lives even in places where, and especially in places where fashion weeks have never happened, because people are still finding their own form of self-expression. They're building on what they see, but, making it their own. And so why did you double down on Chicago? And what was this experience like for you?
I love that Chicago has started this official Chicago Fashion Week, because we have a lot of artists here, a lot of art here. We have a lot of designers that are doing a thing. And we're the third largest city in the US. So why not? Come on now. So yeah, I think it's just really good for the city. I mean, I love that, the mayor's behind it. So it was like a really big thing. Like, okay, it's the first year. Let's keep doing this. Let's continue to give platforms to designers, and let's continue to put out the art, for people. And I just think that is important. But I had to double down on Chicago because New York is already on the map for fashion. So this is where I was born and raised, and why not continue to put Chicago on the map as far as fashion goes? Like, Chicago deserves to be known for having amazing art and designers there. So it was only right to just represent the city that I'm from and let people know that it's not just about Kanye West and Lupe Fiascos. It's fashion here too. Because a lot of great music artists come out of Chicago. Everyone knows that. But when you think of Chicago, you want to think of Joe Freshgoods. You want to think of Sheila Rashid and, all of these other good designers.
Also, the sewing machine was invented in Chicago. I mean, come on.
What? Who knew? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Chicago made the map.
Hot topic right now. Met Gala. The Met Gala theme. Super fine. Tailoring. Black style. Has anyone knocked on your door yet? Because it should be.
Right.
The right as a response. Very telling.
I know. I'm like, I love the theme. I think it's a really cool theme. I think it's so fitting. It seems right. It seemed like it's a good topic to get in on. And we should expect a lot of suits and maybe women in suits. And I don't know. It just seems like I don't know what to expect, but I just feel like it should be really prestige. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the people are wearing. I would love to get somebody in something. It's funny because I love the topic because I have just recently gotten into tailoring. So not only am I'm an actual tailor at Suit Supply, I've been working on tailoring with my brand. So I've been learning a lot about tailoring and the insides of a suit and how to make a suit. And it just seems so on brand for me to get somebody in something, but we'll see. I mean, no one has hit me up about it. It's really, I just think it's about me going out and getting it and figuring out like who could be in the piece in something for the red carpet, like maybe getting ahead of it. That's another thing. Just like getting ahead of it now. It's like, okay, maybe I can reach out to Lena Waithe. Lena Waithe is like my number one, one of my number one, brand ambassador. Like I love her. We love each other. It's like, might as well get her in something. So that's what it is. It's like, cause I've been thinking about that. Okay. Wait, I need to get Lena in a suit or something. I need to get, she's been wearing a lot of my denim. She's wore the overall. She's done all of that. But now it's like, I do want to turn the page with her and like get her in something tailoring. But that's just me needing to be ready for the moment. So I need to go in and like really do the work. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's such an opportunity, I feel like, for us to celebrate designers and people throughout history and Chicago. And I don't know, there's just a lot of things that we could be seeing. And I would love to be a spectator and get to really learn about fashion through this theme and learn about history through this theme. So hoping so.
Definitely. I don't know what to expect. I mean, what's the official title?
Official title is Super Fine Tailoring Black Style. And it's based on a book for everyone that is ready to be a bookworm. It's based on Monica L. Miller's book, Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism, and the Styling of Black Diasporic Identity.
Yeah, I can imagine just the history of Black people that were able to, I guess, be in spaces where they were able to wear suits back in a time where, there was still slavery going on. Like people who was able to be in the room with those type of people. Maybe that's the type of history I'm thinking about. I don't know. Like, this is so broad. It's like, this is the history of the start of tailoring when Black people were able to wear it. It's interesting. I wonder, with probably a lot of zoot suits too from the 90s, from all of those Spike Lee movies, I could see it all. I could see all that.
I mean, there's Andre Leon Talley and Dapper Dan. There's, history's not one point.
I mean, we've already seen this expressed in other themes throughout the years, like just based on who's designing and like what story they're telling. So I think it'll also be good to just have it be at the center versus just an interpretation.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, we'll see your pieces at the Met Gala. We're manifesting it now. We'll be at the after parties, okay? We'll be in Sheila Rashid in the after parties.
Maybe I'll be wearing one at the Met Gala. I'm just kidding.
Yes. Oh, I would definitely, let you all know. I want to work on that. One day, I'm gonna get on Met Gala.
Yeah, duh. Obviously, it's done. People are going to be listening to this episode and like, yeah, that happened. But thank you for talking with us today. What a gift. We finally did it. We got you on the mic. Bye, Sheila. Thank you.
Bye, Sheila.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Lola here. Thanks for listening. Stylist Identity is part of the Majority Group, which is focused on spotlighting and supporting the brands that make us feel seen. In addition to this podcast, we offer business and strategy advice to brands, have an investment arm, and more. Basically, we want to see you win and do what we can to make it happen. For more info on us, head to themajoritygroup.com. Love ya.